The whole solopreneur or the whole loneliness or the whole, fake it until you make it, that doesn't make sense. It's like talk to others about what you want to do and move forward by also serving them, which is something I learned from Geshe Michael Roach, who wrote the book
Mhm.
Karmic Management.
Ah.
Plant the seeds of what it is that you wish to get to. And plant the seeds is also planting the seed of two people coming together and connecting. And we're planting a seed of this relationship. So it's not about what could I get from you, but what could I offer to this relationship that we have now just created?
Action!
Today is a special day because we got the most perfect quantum networking master in the house. And he knows everybody. And because of him, I get to know everybody. And these are the most famous people in the world that you can imagine, from Tony Robbins to the most best-selling authors from the US, you name it. This gentleman knows all of them. And he doesn't only know them, but he's friends with them. And I'm honored to be his friend. And in this way, we are connecting and bringing you into the equation, that you get to know how to connect to famous, influential people, that you can have more impact with your mission. Networking is the name of the game, and Gil Petersil is a master in that. Welcome, Gil. I'm so thankful
Thank
that we finally make it happen. That we not only connect in the networking events, but bring your connecting wisdom into our yoga community. We've known each other for close to 5 years here on our Bali scene of the famous guests coming our way. And you always bring us together. And that is truly appreciated, the way you hold the space.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. So we're not just socially serving people, but we're serving these people here
Exactly.
online all over the world.
Exactly. So I'll give a bit of context for the people who might not be aware of the framing, and do some name dropping and some framing of our conversation, and give the people some background understanding. So Gil has been in this world of networking for not only years but decades, and especially in the context of the famous Tony Robbins events, has been bringing not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands of people to these Tony Robbins events. And obviously, one can meet a lot of famous people at Tony Robbins events if one hangs out there for years and decades. So that is in many ways one of the many backgrounds that Gil established himself in this world of influential people. And
It was a really good journey in my life to be able to wish to serve my coach.
Mhm.
And he was a mentor from far away. And I understood that in order for us to connect with people that we see as mentors or that we see as someone that's very far away that we want to learn from, we want to be like them, the hack is to find ways of serving them. And Tony was the first guy that I managed to kind of build that relationship with his company so that we can help. But people like Eckhart Tolle and Jay Abraham and Joe Dispenza and Marissa Peer and all these incredible people that we've managed to not just say, hey, how can we learn from them, but how can we serve them? And then the next level is, how can we bring so much value to them that they want to invite us to their home, or they want to invite us on vacation with them, or they want to, like, I can't say that I'm their friend. I can call them up and talk to them, chit chat, but I could definitely say that they know who I am, and I could show up in their home and I can ask for further collaboration if I really want to. And that was always my wish, to add so much value to my mentors so that I don't see them as, oh my God, they're up there and I'm down here, but I see them eye to eye because, hey, they've given me a lot of value, but I've given them massive value as well.
Mhm. Exactly. This mutual exchange, the synergy, the giving and receiving, which helps us to go full circle and establish this heartfelt connection, that we overcome the separation. And that is, from a spiritual perspective, at the core of it, to not be isolated and kind of in this lonely, individualized approach and this hustle culture, elbow mentality, competitive attitudes, of trying to prove ourselves and all the judgmentalism and so on, that we overcome these limitations and connect as human beings from heart to heart. So
It's also the not thinking that we need to do it by ourselves. So
exactly.
many of us, including myself, I've tried to do a lot of myself so that I can show my parents, hey, it's okay that I didn't go to university, I still made it. Or I could show some of my friends who were very successful in the corporate world, hey, look, I could be successful as an entrepreneur. I don't need to have a job. Or it's also showing my peers, hey, look, I'm adding a lot of value to society, is something that has been in my head so many times. But for me, this position of knowing that we need a community, we need the network, we need to serve the connections we have around us. And in order to co-elevate, as our dear friend Keith Ferrazzi would say, we need to also find people that are a little bit higher level than us. And I've challenged myself quite a few times in my life to find people who are much, much higher level and say, okay, what do I need to do right now in order to get to their level one day, not tomorrow? That for me was this challenge of like, how do I help them grow? And that's always been a fun challenge that I don't need to do it alone. The whole solopreneur or the whole loneliness or the whole, fake it until you make it, that doesn't make sense. It's like, talk to others about what you want to do and move forward by also serving them, which is something I learned from Geshe Michael Roach, who wrote the book Karmic Management. Plant the seeds of what it is that you wish to get to, and plant the seeds is also planting the seed of two people coming together and connecting, and we're planting a seed of this relationship. So it's not about what could I get from you, but what could I offer to this relationship that we have now just created? We have birthed a relationship. What could I give? How can I be the sun for that relationship? How can I be the water? How can I bring it energy? Not to expect something only from you, but like, hey, maybe I have more energy this month, so I can give a lot more. And maybe you'll have energy next month, so when I need your help, I can get it back. It's nice, like we co-elevate, we support each other.
Exactly. That main intention of giving. How can I be of service? How can I support you? Or with a more mainstream formulation, how can I add value to you? So this is something which always inspired me in your approach of kind of first giving. And that's
it's the how can I help you mindset.
Exactly. How can I help you? How can I be of service? And that's so close to my heart. And I feel that's one of the reasons why we vibe together so much, because it's just the heartfelt intention. This, I just mentioned it the other day in the podcast, the poetic formulation, my cup is runneth over. So this overflowing joy, this fulfillment, which just the enthusiasm, which just kind of oozes out of us and it just inspires and is contagious, and passes on this open-hearted and service-oriented way of being. And that's even what you have as one of your taglines. I always see it in your WhatsApp short pre-message there in the system. It goes something like, your network is your energy. Nurture it. So that's what you were just using with the metaphor of the let me be the nutrients in the soil of your plant. Let me be the water. Let me be the sun. Let me add some value. Let me be of service. So then you can grow and we can grow together. You used the term of Keith Ferrazzi, co-elevate, with his brand new best-selling book, Never Lead Alone. With his old book, Never Eat Alone. So this together, the community approach is at the center of it.
100% aligned with that. And it took me so many years to understand what it really means to co-create together. And it doesn't come from my family. My family told me that I could do a lot myself. My family comes more from traditional get jobs and, you can get a job and you can move forward in life that way. Where in my life in the last 20 plus years as an entrepreneur, I've understood that we can't really do anything alone. It's not fun to do anything alone. It doesn't give joy to do, for me, something alone. I get joy by even exercise with others, even meditate with others. I love eating with others. I don't mind being alone. Like, I'm an introvert by nature, so being alone for me is important. But that's more when I'm networking with myself, I'm networking with God, I'm networking with the universe. It's okay to be alone. But if I want to really co-create, I can give time to co-create with others, because people see that, hey, you are a master connector, you're a master in networking. I think we all are. We're all amazing at networking, because we've never really been taught on how to connect. We've never been taught how to make friends. I don't know anyone that's ever had a class in school when they were young, how to make friends, or another class when they're a little bit older, how to change your friends, or another class, how to move industries, or another class, how to move countries. Moving countries is changing your network. It's traumatic. It's not easy to do that. And because I've lived in 7 countries, I've had to change networks many times. I've had more than 20 successful failures as an entrepreneur. So I've had to change industries and change teams. And that could also be quite traumatic from someone who could also, actually, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I've created multiple gardens in my life, and I've learned every time how to nurture it better. How do I get this garden to grow faster? How do I get it to grow without any, if you don't tend to your garden, it might end up having a lot of mold, or one plant will overpower the other plants. And in Bali, when I got here, and especially during COVID, I gave a lot of attention to permaculture. Like, we have a lot of greenery in garden, and it's in Bali here, and it's very beautiful to learn how can you eat off the land. And I started to learn how some plants, like Guta Cola, really liked being around my papaya plant. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Why? And like, what does that mean? That some nature really loves being around each other. So it's less like farming, where it's like only tomatoes or only potatoes or only cucumbers, but it's good to mix them up. And it's the same thing within our network, which is why I've taken the last 20 years of my life to study the arts and sciences of human networking, and to understand the spiritual aspects, the more spiritual habits and rituals that we can put when it comes to not necessarily networking with myself, which is important time every day, or networking with God and the universe, important time every day. Some people want to network with their pets. People have dog or cat. They want to network. They want to connect with that animal, hug it, go for a walk with it. That's giving time. That's networking time with that animal. Some people love networking with nature. I know we do, like go for a walk in nature, sit on the grass. Some people hug trees. It's the next level. I've hugged some trees in my life. And then all this rest of the time that we have every day, what we're doing is we're connecting with others. I know that a lot of people out there, maybe you as well, don't like to use the word networking because society dirtied it up. Like, networking event is about going somewhere and taking something from someone, or going to an event and looking for the person that you need, or being sold to. People don't like it, especially in the US market. They feel like they're being sold to. But I've learned that networking is very beautiful. It's a very beautiful way to understand that, hey, we could learn something on how to connect as human beings to each other. And we're not going to have war. We're going to have a lot less divorces. We're going to have a lot more happy friendships. We're going to have a lot more successful business partnerships, because if an entrepreneur, a yoga teacher, or someone that is even an employee in a company, if they learn the deeper aspects of human connections, they can move up in the company. They can have more clients around them. They can have more partners or more investors around them as well.
Exactly, the partnering also, to connect with other teachers, instead of seeing it as a competition, finding the win-win, the mutual benefit. And not just what's in it for me, but what's in it for them. So coming to these social gatherings, not with this common networking interest where kind of the only thing I give is kind of my business card. No, but like, how can I serve? How can I provide? How can I add? And not just take for me in this kind of salesman mentality.
We've not been taught how to show up plus. What does that mean? Like, in some cultures, you show up to someone's house for dinner.
Yeah.
You show up with something, with a dessert, with fruits. Historically, when I was drinking alcohol, I would show up with a bottle of wine, and people would ask about the wine. We'd open the wine. There is something there. People would put the dessert on the table. There is something quite unique in showing up plus. Or sometimes you could show up at an event and you bring a +1 with you, because you're adding value to the event organizers. You can show up plus flowers. You're showing up and you're bringing more. These days, a lot of people believe that showing up by myself is good enough. And I don't think it is. I think that people don't know how to show up. People don't know that showing up, it's not showing up because it's a privilege to show up. No, it's like you're showing up, see how you can add value. You're showing up, see if you can motivate someone, inspire someone, give them a connection, see if you could show up with some gifts, see if you could show up and help in the kitchen, see if you could show up and help co-hosting an event. Like you do. You do that extremely well. Most people have lost that, or they've never been taught how to truly show up in a network where, because you're showing up plus plus, you're actually showing up, and you know that because you're showing up plus plus, you're going to leave that position feeling nourished, feeling more embodied, feeling that you've fulfilled. And, in many cases, people show up at someone's dinner and they leave feeling drained and have no energy. They show up at a networking opportunity or some sort of an event, and they show up and they're tired and they have no energy, and they think it's because those people took my energy. No, it's because you didn't show up plus plus. You show up looking to just take. You're looking for clients. You're looking to sell yourself. You're not looking to truly add value. You're trying to use maybe old codes of networking to connect, instead of using some new codes of networking with, hey, I'm looking for strategic partners, I'm looking for mentors, I'm looking for friends. And it puts us in a position where, how can I show up with more of myself in any networking situation?
Exactly. If the mind comes in, it's kind of too short-lived interest, too transactional, to this what's in it for me attitude. And then it's like a narrow-minded thinking. And then we're not open to receive really the multiplicity of possibility, and are not really available to let the magic of life unfold, the synergy, which here in Bali, of course, comes triple easy. We somehow get supported even more.
Easy and not. In Bali, we have both. In Bali, we have the easy because you have a lot of impact people, quite spiritual people, the hugs and the ceremonies. And there's a lot that works around us, whether it's the tea or the cacao, whether it's the meditation together, whether it's the grounding or someone holding space for everyone to just connect. It's beautiful to have it. But Bali, on the other side, also has a massive challenge with people not having friends and people not feeling that they're a part of a community, because community comes in and out. People don't necessarily have the tools to build friendship. They don't have the tools on how to show up in a situation where I could truly connect.
Exactly. It depends on the specific individual life circumstances. For example, here, how long have you been here? How well established are you? In a place like Bali, it's somewhat transient. There's more the short-term tourists. There's people who stay for a few months, others stay for years, others stay for decades. But still, it's more of this coming and going, which for most people living in a more family, Western city life, etc., there's more continuity. And every place has its own kind of circumstances, variables, and we need to find our own way how to connect. Now, in cities, yes, there are many people who stay longer, but still it's very isolated and lonely, don't even know your neighbors type of circumstance. So we need to find our personality, how we connect, our network, our working context, our different hobbies, and so on. How to cross-pollinate is, I feel, one of the keys to in very transverse between different fields, scenes, subcultures, and bridge between them, and not just stay too much in our individual isolated bubble, but also not just in our yoga bubble. For example, if we just hang out with only other yoga teachers, indeed it could be a bit limiting and isolating. Then there's adjacent fields like massage therapists, body workers, healers, and then whatever, like brands of products, and adjacent fields like, okay, there's sound healing, and then there's the people who have the singing bowl shop. And like there's a whole synergy in the community. And
I love that you use the word cross-pollination so much, because most people don't understand truly what it means. But there's so much power to what you just said, because we have so much beauty in nature because bees cross-pollinate. And we need to consider that our nature is the network around us. I believe that God gave me human beings as a gift to myself to cross-pollinate, and the universe gave me time awareness. So I try to always look at both in a very holistic and very beautiful way, that if I have this much time every single day, who do I connect with? Who do I give my time? And you said it so beautifully, especially for this audience, that if you don't move outside of your audience, it's the same thing as that garden that only has the one or two flowers. It doesn't allow itself to grow, or if it's almost like a network of flowers that doesn't allow bees to come in. Hey, bees, you're not invited. So you know how some networks don't allow others to come in very easily. There are some cultures that if you show up at that event and predominantly all of those people are from one culture, it's sometimes not easy for us to feel welcome in those cultures, which is why in some big cities in the world, if it's a city, for example, like New York, like London, Bali, of course, is a great example, like Singapore, you have, it's so many cultures are in one place. So people feel a little bit easier to say, where are you from? And it's a nice way to kind of understand, hey, we're all from different places. Cross-pollination for me is to really understand that what bees do is they constantly get uncomfortable. They're constantly going to another garden to see what flowers are there. They're constantly stepping away from the beehive. It's uncomfortable for them in order to serve the greater good. Most people, especially in the spiritual community, find it quite comfortable to stay within this kind of community and to stay near it, but we're not challenging ourselves. We're not allowing ourselves, for example, I spoke to a few yoga teachers the other day and I said, hey, do any of you have, for example, a crypto wallet? And half of them did. I was like, yeah, nice. Why don't you go to a crypto event? They're like, well, we're not crypto experts. You don't have to become crypto experts, but a lot of people in crypto need a yoga teacher. It's like, go there, feel uncomfortable. Don't talk crypto. You have a crypto wallet. Go and learn, but you don't have to talk their language. It's the same thing as going to someone that's in the food industry and saying, hey, you're only networking in the food industry. Step a little bit outside of it and go not just to the catering events, but go to the marketing events, go to the hotel events, going completely out of your network experiences and see if you could start practicing new codes of networking in order to feel uncomfortable as you're growing, as you're expanding your network.
I love that so much. We can see different circles, like staying very much in our comfort zone, like-minded people, the in-group, we speak the slang, the language, and all of that would be, in the yoga teachers just hanging out with other yoga practitioners, yoga enthusiasts, other yoga teachers, maybe a studio owner or somebody. But then I mentioned previously kind of the adjacent circles, the body workers, the healers, the physiotherapists, the craniosacral therapists, and the sound healers, etc. But then I like how you bring in the crypto people, which is like completely opposite end of the scale.
Yeah,
exactly. And then going really out of our comfort zone and challenging ourselves. But this is in the contrast where the magic happens, because like you say, the crypto people, they need the yoga.
100% they need it. And if you're going into such networks that's a little bit uncomfortable for you, first of all, it's a competitive edge. If it's uncomfortable for all of us and I'm going into it, probably there isn't going to be a lot of yoga teachers there, which means I have a huge competitive advantage. I'm not saying to sell myself, but to tell people, yeah, I'm into crypto, but I'm actually, I'm a yoga teacher. Exactly. And for me, this is where beauty really happens, when we're challenging ourselves to be uncomfortable. And I do this a lot within our communities and within my client base. I'm like, well, what it is that you want to do and where do you currently network? And then we start looking at all these other networks and other pools of people. Where else can you go? What country can you go to that is very outside of your comfort zone? What event can you go to that is outside of your comfort zone? In Bali, for example, a lot of people have this threshold at a $20 is almost like an average price for an event out there. And I tell some people, what if you look for an event that's $40? It's like double. What does that mean? That it's not going to have the usual suspects. It's going to have a different quality of people that are willing to spend double the amount of money. Is it a lot of money? Is it not a lot of money? It might be a lot, but it means that it's a different segment of people. It's like that bee that's willing to travel just a little bit further to go to that exotic new flower range. And then he's going to come back to the beehive as a hero. Look what I'm bringing back. And this is super important when we want to grow, because if you're playing tennis and you want to play better, you don't go and play people that play on the exact same level as you. If you want to learn how to play the piano, you have a teacher working with you. If you're going to the gym and you want to learn how to work out, you have a trainer. You have people who are bigger than you or more experienced than you. It's the same thing as the world of networking. Because we've never been taught, because we don't have the normal programs in our head. Our parents didn't teach us how to network. School didn't teach us how to network. We kind of learn how to network from society, but because of the background we're in and because of our network, we are the average of that group around us, not just in the way we are, but the way we connect, the way we build relationships. I believe that networking are a set of spiritual practices, which is why I don't mind using this word. It is a beautiful word for me. It's not a negative word that people are like, oh, I don't want to go to networking. So it's like, how do we align our new network strategy or our new networking goals to say, what kind of people do I want to connect with next? So when I show up in an event, it's not, oh, I'm just going to allow God or the universe to bring the right people to me. And it's also not just going to be, I'm going to the event to look for friends or to look for clients, but what else? Can I look for mentors? Can I look for lovers? Can I look for someone that's going to inspire me? Can I look for someone that will tell me about a new hobby or someone that will play a new hobby with me? Can I look for someone that I can hire? Can I look for someone that would hire me? Like, there are so many different reasons why we should go out networking. Maybe a little bit of our time, maybe 10, 20% of our time, we should look at new networks. And 80%, 90%, depending on where you are in your life, manage and nurture your existing network. I'm constantly telling people that depending on where you are in life right now and what you want at the next stage, you can switch that. You could say, well, I need change. I need change in my life. I want more money. I want to move countries. I want to change industries. I want to grow. I want a new team. If you want big change in your life, you need big change in your network. That's the only easy way to make a big change.
Yeah, that's a famous statement that we are the sum total of the 5 people we spend most time with, or your network is your net worth. Also, there's many famous recommendations in that direction. I have 2-3 other topics to connect to. So catching up on a few topics you mentioned. First of all, the surroundings circumstances. You mentioned the example of the gym and other such kind of social places where we just hang out with others, where it's not necessarily like a formal event, but a surrounding, a being exposed to marinating in a field, a subculture. So choosing wisely there. You gave the example of the $20 versus $40 event, etc. So that's a famous networking recommendation. Also, if you come newly to a place, you said how challenging it is to change place, change country, go to the most expensive gym. Make the investment because there you will meet the people who are going strong in the community, who are the successful entrepreneurs, and you there naturally hang out with them. You sit in the sauna with them, you have a snack afterwards with them, and that mutually uplifts each other, and you kind of tap into this field. So that's a beautiful one, which works surprisingly well. And then there's some hacks. A friend of mine recently took that to the next level, just intuitively without knowing the formal recommendation of it. He came with a collection of essential oils to this fancy gym in Byron Bay, actually, in a famous place in Australia. And he became known in that famous gym with lots of upmarket, fluffy, rich people as the aroma king or something like this, because he was in the sauna putting these essential oils and doing his unique signature mixtures of the frankincense and the sage together. And he was kind of like the man for that. And he met the most amazing millionaires there who started opening doors for him with some marketing agency and so on. Just one example of how it can be just an intuitive move to meet the right people in the right place, hang out, just be around. So that was one of the topics I wanted to catch up on.
I love that so much because people very often don't know how to build a new network. Very often they don't know why they need a new network. Again, we feel comfortable within our network. I believe that networking is actually the number one fear we have as human beings. If you ask Google, Google will say public speaking or losing face in public, or letting people down potentially, or but it's all connected to human connection. So it means that if, as humanity, as people out there, if we're willing to make that statement, well, maybe I'm not as good as human connections as I think I am. And I tell people out there, and I challenge you out there to just rank yourself in the world, in the complex world of human networking. And that means like knowing how to connect with people, knowing how to disconnect and say goodbye. What does it mean to say goodbye? Like, I'm now 2 years into a conscious uncoupling with my partner. We have 3 kids together. We have a business together. What does it mean to uncouple? People break up and they get divorced and they separate. People get fired or quit from jobs. We haven't been taught how to uncouple or how to disconnect. What does it mean to network online or offline? There's a lot of complexities there. What does it mean to understand what kind of a brand we are and how to represent ourselves, how to start conversations? There's a lot of complexities there. And because a lot of us have not been taught, it's really good to start well, where am I now? Like, really, where am I now? And once we understand the status of where we are right now, and there are audits out there, there are examples I love giving people on socials. People who ask me, I just give them these audits on how do you understand where you are right now in the world of really networking, of relationships, auditing the relationships you have. People say we are the sum total of the 5 people, but in most cases, if you're traveling a lot, if you're moving a lot, if you live in places like Bali, you have more than 5 people. I believe we actually have about 12 people that we're in regular connection with. But if you're an entrepreneur like myself, you have a lot more than 12 people. You're able to manage relationships with 100 different people at any given time. And if you're out there normal in the world, you're able to manage relation with about 200 people at any given point in my life. But really, most people are not able to, because one, they don't understand where they are within the network, and they don't have these networking goals. And because we don't have these networking goals ahead of us, people tend to set up money goals or experience goals they have, or they set up like wishful thinking, what do I want to buy type of goals, or how do I want to contribute to society goals. But they don't have simple goals like, who are the kind of people I wish to have more in my life and why? And when we have that, we could then say, well, I do need to go to that more expensive gym. It makes sense to me to stretch myself to pay that every month. Or I should maybe go to that art gallery. I should go to that workshop that maybe I've never paid $1,000 for a workshop. Or going to a Tony Robbins seminar today could cost you up to $15,000. But imagine who else is paying $15,000 for a 5-day event. And imagine the quality of people you will meet at that event. Who else pays for that? And why do I need such quality of people in my life? And then it comes down to, do I feel confident enough to speak to these people? Do I know how to offer my services to these people? So there's a lot of aspects of human connection, human networking, authentic communication that we've never been taught, that we think we're great at. But once we understand, hey, I am here right now and I want to go to point B. In order to go to point B, I need these type of people. In order to find these kind of people, maybe I need a coach. Maybe I need a mentor. It's like, again, learning to play the piano, learning how to be a chef, learning how to do something. We tend to ask for help from someone who knows how to do that. And sometimes we think, my friend can teach me how to do that. And we do that a lot in life. People will say, I want to do this business. Let me talk to my friend about it. But your friend has no experience in learning how to do this business. Or I want to get healthy. Let me talk to my family. Let me talk to my immediate network. But they're not necessarily the experts that can give you the best hacks on how to do that. So that's why people don't know to go to that gym, to go to that workshop, to go to that coach. We've just never been taught how to hack life, how to cut out a lot of these points.
Exactly, the hack. That was the next keyword I wanted to bring in. Coming for a moment from the spiritual perspective of Indian yoga tradition, what actually is interesting that the two approaches in spirituality. One of them is up and out, transcending, going beyond, leaving the worldly material world behind and going towards the spiritual awakening, more in escaping. The other approach is a world embracing, working with the energies and in this way harmonizing, balancing, and then still connecting to the supreme spiritual essence. So these world embracing approaches in India come under the headline of Tantra, Tantrism. Not the sexualized neo-Tantra hanky-panky thing, but the old school spiritual path of Tantrism. And the literal significance of the term Tantra has many meanings, but one of them is a fabric, a cloth, a network, a loom. You know how ancient or even in modern times fabrics are made? It's a weaving together. The machine to do that is called a loom, which does this, the threads weaving together and so on, building this net. So this is one of the literal root significances of the word Tantra. So Tantra actually means network, means loom, means fabric of existence. And then metaphorically what it means is everything is connected to everything, either directly or indirectly, because all the threads in the warp, in the fabric, are connected to each other. If you pull here, it's going to touch all the other elements. So that as a quick backdrop, to see that Tantra is actually the science of this interconnectedness of life. And they know all the rules and principles and hacks of, if you change something here, it will have an effect over here and there and that. And then to do that skillfully, in a wise way, not manipulating, but adapting, changing the different ingredients.
I love that so much. I never heard anyone speak about Tantra that way. I've heard the other side of breathing and sacred sexuality and understanding really how to connect with another human being using some Tantra philosophies. And I love the way you put it, because everything is connected to everything. And we can get to anyone. I've been challenged many times in my life. Gil, can you get to that person? Can you get to that CEO of a company? Can you get to that head of university? Can you get yourself on any stage? And I've challenged myself over a decade to get myself on some of the greatest stages in the world as a speaker.
How many stages have you spoken on?
Way over 1,000 stages in the world, way over. But I've also helped many others to get on stages with a deeper reasoning of like, well, there is a connection and there is a hack. It's not that challenging to meet someone or to get on that stage. Initially, I got on stages because I wanted to be like Tony Robbins one day. So at one point I was like, what do I need to do in order to get on stage one day with Tony Robbins? And then it was like, well, what do I need to do in order to meet one of the Tony Robbins coaches? Or what do I need to do in order to meet that entrepreneur that could potentially invest in my business? Or what could I do in order to get in front of my ideal clients? In order to build a funnel, how can I see myself in a tunnel? Meaning I need to find a way to move through the network itself, but to hack my way through. Instead of bringing my ideal clients to me, how can I find myself in an authority position on a stage in front of all my ideal clients? And I played in life that way quite a bit, and I've changed industries a lot. I went from, the personal development industry that I did for many, many years. And before that, I was in the organic health and beauty industry, setting up shops. And before that, I was in logistics and banking and recruitment. And I had health food shops and I had organic restaurant and juice bars. And every single time I was like, well, if I want to set up a restaurant, I'm not just going to figure it out. How do I go through my network to very quickly meet restaurateurs? Or if I want to open up a juice bar and be successful, how do I quickly meet people who have run such businesses before to learn what goes wrong? And people don't do that enough. They look only within their network, immediate network, to say, hey, what can I learn from these people? Or how can I pick up a book? Instead of saying, what's this next layer look like? And how can I hack getting into that next layer so that I can be a little bit more successful, or I can feel more confident, or I can find new friendships?
And that's so much the key, which I've been sharing for decades, is finding the best teachers, masters, sources that we don't need to start from scratch, that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And you were sharing that in the context of entrepreneur, business development, personal development, etc. And I've been going so deep in that context of the spiritual development. How can I shortcut my way to awakening? Actually, on this seat here was a graduate of our school sitting maybe a year ago, Nitya Priyan from Singapore, who opened 2 yoga schools in Singapore competitive yoga industry there and is offering his own yoga teacher trainings there. I asked him about his awakening, and he gave a wonderful metaphor sitting on this chair. I just watched it again last week. He said, yes, you can walk your way towards spiritual awakening. But if somebody shows you, here is the Tesla, why don't you take this superb vehicle and take a shortcut towards spiritual awakening? Why wouldn't you take that convenient vehicle? And that's even in the ancient Indian metaphors, in the myths. We have it here in Bali, the Garuda Vishnu. Vishnu is the divine embodiment, the divine one. And he's flying on his carrier bird, Vishnu, on Garuda. Vishnu is sitting on Garuda, on this sacred divine bird, and the god is flying on the bird. He's using the vehicle. So accelerating, simplifying, shortcutting, hacking our way to not go so slow in this kind of wasting time and getting lost and dead ends and all the confusion and mess and chaos and false attempts and unsuccessful trial and error approach individually, narrow-minded. I got to do it myself, solopreneur, competitive approach. But in business, in personality development, on the spiritual path, how can we have the synergy, the co-creation, the win-win solution, the learning from each other, the shortcuts? So this is so much the name of the game.
I love that. I've never heard anyone tell me like that even in the spiritual world, there are ways of hacking. I've been told that sometimes, people can have the right teacher and they could, move much faster in the spiritual world. I was told that, through psychedelics or plant medicines, you can also kind of hack your way towards awakening and towards have more clarity in your life. But it's 100% truth when it comes to progress in life. Progress in life, progress in business, progress as an entrepreneur, progress as a human being within this vast network of billions of people. The easiest way to hack forward is to find, in my opinion, super connectors within the community. It's to find people that can see your greatness, see your magic, and help you connect with someone that can help you leap forward. I call these quantum leaps. Quantum leaps is instead of waiting, 6 months to get on the best stage you want to be in, how do you wait 3 months? How do you do that much faster? In order to raise money for a company that you have, how do you do that much faster? By being in front of the investors. And for me, it's very, very strange to constantly come back to, we are very good at being able to be the angels and the hackers for others. But if we try to be angels and hackers for ourselves, it doesn't work. And I'm constantly being faced in that position. It's the same thing as a great basketball teacher is not as good as the actual students themselves in basketball. And the same thing as many chefs. Many of the greatest chefs in the world have had their students surpass them, not necessarily in that specific type of cooking, but in general. Many, today I saw a video about Gordon Ramsay, and he was talking about his teacher and how he surpassed his teacher. And it's happened in all aspects of life. And I'm currently in a very similar position where I've helped so many others quantum leap forward. And now, again, I'm finding myself, okay, I need another massive quantum leap in my world of networking, in my world as a coach, as a hacker for people, as someone who's bringing in cha tea and tea into the world in a different way. And I'm looking for my teachers. And only recently, a few months ago, I met Gary Lineham from Human Garage that you've also connected with. And he's, again, being that person in my life where because we know each other now, we can now quantum leap together towards our purpose because we are serving each other. So I think it's a constant search for this human being that will take us to this level. And then we can, climb a little bit alone or climb a little bit with this other person. But I think it's a never-ending journey of looking for this human being that will take us to this next level, whatever that level is for us. So never stop looking for that person for yourself, for that person that will, now this is what I want. Who is this person? And I tell people, don't look for that person to take you there. Invest in that person. Give that person your time, your attention, your money. Come in more than just yourself to serve them. Come in plus plus,
Mhm.
and then they will feel that from you and they would want to co-elevate with you.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Directly catching up on what you just said with your new mission, which I feel we didn't emphasize enough. We didn't take time to drink enough tea yet. So cheers on the puer tea here. Because, Gil, what your new mission over the last years has been is to bring people together, not just over a cup of tea, but to really go deeper using this hack of the tea. So I'm curious how you can connect our listeners to this magic world of tea and
Yeah.
how that brings, in a way, a hack to this networking. How does tea help us to go deeper, and what's the mission of your project?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, 2 years ago, a little bit less than 2 years, I started seeing these visions, why tea has been in my life for the last 5 years and why it needs to become more important. You know, being in Bali for 5 years, I've been invited to a lot of tea ceremonies, and I always really loved how suddenly we became present with each other so easily. Suddenly there were no phones around the table, which is a good hack of networking. Put your phone under the table. Suddenly there was no distraction. So we were not distracted by noise around. We were very much present with each other, and it was something as simple as tea being served. And then I started studying why that is and where is the history of tea and the philosophy behind tea, and understanding that for thousands of years now, tea has been used as a way to pacify relationship, to resolve battle, to avoid war in some countries. Tea has been used as a way to ground business meetings before they even start. Tea is a way to welcome someone into your home in many, many cultures for billions of people. Why is it in the West that I have a little bit of that? So, for example, whenever I didn't feel good or I went to my grandmother's house, she would serve me tea, for example. Or whenever I was a little bit sick, my mom maybe would make me some tea with some honey or lemon. And where did that come from? Why did we lose that? Why did we suddenly have these random chains of shops serving tea as an alternative to coffee, tea on the go, quickly? Why did we go from tea slowing us down and connecting us to tea just being a drink like iced tea or bubble tea and all that? And I took over a year to study the history. And I took, a year to say, why is tea suddenly, for me, someone who has taken, over a decade to study the arts and sciences of human connection. I've studied quantum networking mechanics for years with professors and scientists to understand how we connect, what are strategic partnership, what is community, what is the science behind friendship. Like Harvard did this research to understand that we need 85 hours of one-on-one human connection to build what they said is a true friendship. We don't know what that is today. And I believe, as someone who is a scientist behind human networking, I believe that tea is one of the ultimate, if not the ultimate hack for human connection. And I decided to launch this movement called Chati with a group of people. We had this collective of people that came together every week. We had tea together and we spoke about where is tea in the world? Where is tea in retail, and where is tea in e-commerce? Where is tea in tea shops, and where is tea inside events? And is tea a competition for bars? And is tea a competition for coffee? And what can tea play as a role in society today? Now we have a movement called Chati. Chati brings solutions to different events. So we have Chati social infusions, where you've experienced a few times, where we bring a tea bar in many different levels to an event. It could be a spiritual event, it could be a personal development, but it could also be a big crypto event that usually would have a lot of loud music and alcohol. But suddenly we have these huge tea bars, whether it's hot brewed tea or some sort of a uniquely made fresh iced tea in front of you, as a way to get you to be more present with others. I believe, based on my scientific research, that tea is what we need today a lot more. Instead of having let's go out for coffee, or instead of having these big events that have coffee breaks or coffee networking breaks, instead of having wine being brought around the table, which is a ceremonial way of opening a bottle of wine. What's the vineyard? What's the year? Smelling the wine and talking about the wine a little bit is a really beautiful way of ceremonially connecting people. Or in some cultures, breaking bread, needing to eat with you as a way of connecting, but also because the world has changed so much, it's not about doing something as simple. Back then, thousands of years ago, breaking bread was having a high quality loaf of bread, which was homemade with some sort of a soup or a stew that was full of nutrients, and that was enough to connect with you. Today, breaking bread with people would be a feast around the table that will completely take our energies and our blood to our stomachs, and depending on your allergies and my allergies and our needs for food, we're not necessarily going to be in a place where we're fully aligned in the right vibration, the right frequencies to connect with each other. And people don't understand that you don't need a meal to connect with people. You don't need alcohol to connect with people. We don't need to go to the bar to connect with someone. We don't need to go somewhere socially that's loud and distracts us to connect with someone. I believe now we need a cup of tea. Now, of course, there's many, many levels to that. You can have the tea ceremony, the tea salon. You can have a facilitator to help connect that group together. So Chati also offers these services to corporations that want to have a deep team building experience. It offers this to teams of people or communities that want to come together, and not just let's have a tea ceremony, but how do we facilitate that? How do we use time and a way to facilitate it? What prompts can we have to connect people together? And we are looking for people just like you who want to learn how to serve tea. So we've found some of the greatest teachers in the world that could teach more and more people how to serve tea. My objective is the next 3 years is I want Chati to be able to certify more tea masters and tea sommeliers and tea baristas to learn how to serve tea in social environments. And we will guarantee giving them jobs and promoting them once they've learned how to do that, because I really believe that because today's society is so disconnected and we're truly so bad at networking. Most people think they are 5, 6, 7, 8 in networking. People even tell me I'm a 9 out of 10 in networking. I think I'm so good at it. And I'll be able to scientifically prove to them why they are maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2 out of 10 in networking. Meaning that their potential of human connection is currently at 20%, and they believe they are at 80%, which means they're not giving enough attention. How can I optimize? How can I develop the way I'm connecting, the way I'm following up, I'm reconnecting, the way I'm building my team, the way I'm building relationships with my clients, my investors, my community. If I think I'm a 7 or an 8, like I'm thinking I'm so good at it, but I'm really, really bad at it, it doesn't allow us to grow. So Chati is about giving people not just the frameworks and the solutions around human connection, but we're also giving them the different solutions and services around the reconnecting and building those deeper relationships that could truly help us to, whatever our moonshot is. Like, I want to get to there in my life. Chati is going to help you get there much faster using tea.
And that's the surprising thing, that it works as a hack. And there's a whole art and science to it. As you mentioned, the whole tea sommelier, the tea ceremony, the ritual around it, the biochemistry of it, the energetic charges. We have many shared tea master friends, and it's just incredible how deep they've gone into this Chinese, Taiwanese, Indian world of tea. It's such a deep one. Like the whole nuances of the fragrances and the decades old teas which have been stored and cultivated like wine, but without the alcohol and downside of that. And
they went into it spiritually, and spiritually attracted me to it, but scientifically I've understood why it is the ultimate hack for human connection and presence.
Exactly. The different layers. It's like a holistic way, a holistic life hack to connect us on the physical, biochemical, energetical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual. It's an all-encompassing holistic connection coming from the tea.
I truly believe that using tea as a hack for human connection is what humanity is going to go into right now, into 2026, because of social media and because of having 40 wars in the world, and more than 50% of society is getting divorces. More than 90% of humans that have jobs are unhappy with their jobs. Because of AI disconnecting us even more, we need to find a hack for human connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly, truly believe that tea, as a ceremony, as a salon, as a solution for what do I need in between us in order to have a little bit more presence with you, I think that is the ultimate hack. And I want to see Chati as being that driving force to help people with mental health issues, which is a massive problem we have in the world, helping them with loneliness.
Yeah.
And maybe if one day, God forbid, we have something again like COVID disconnected us as human beings, I'm excited by offering people virtual tea sessions. Imagine starting to have virtual tea ceremonies when you get together for some tea time with new friends.
Sure. Amazing. Love it. Love it. Love it. So I feel we just got started. So my mind was already going into an episode 2 and 3 round where we can continue.
You guys want it? Tell them that you want more of me. I'll give you more breakdown. I'll give you the methodologies. I'll give you the tea hacks. There's so much complexities in human connection and also serving tea. I'm just a student on how to serve tea. He knows better than I do.
So wonderful that we could have some friends listening into our friendship conversation on the fireside chat, on the tea chat, as we call it. So I trust that you enjoyed this heartfelt connection and possibilities of going deeper together on this human journey of shared discovery, of mutual upliftment, of this whole unfolding of living with an open heart. So thank you for sharing your love, your expertise, your scientific background, your dedication, your heartfelt contributions to a better world, bringing us all together. You know, I love you so much, and I'm so much appreciating our friendship. And I trust that everybody could get a flavor of this magic unfolding. So I'm looking forward to going deeper together. I pray for your success on the chat tea movement. We'll of course provide the links in the description. So check out, everybody, the magic that Gil Petersil brings to this world. And I'm sure we will go deeper together. We'll have many more cups of tea together. We're even dreaming of recording some other advanced courses on these topics. And for sure, a lot of synergy will continue to unfold.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, it's for those musicians out there and those poets out there that understand the possibility and the opportunity of bringing more unity into the community is, tea plays very beautifully within very positive words in the world. And if we understand that tea is so powerful, we can also understand that, for billions of people, it's called cha, CHA, and that's why we call it cha tea. But cha tea is also being chatty. And
communicating
if
over
we're
a cup
looking
of tea.
for billions of people, it's cha-I, cha for me. So billions of people, they decided to not just call it cha, but to call it cha-I. And there's a lot of power around saying cha for me, cha-I, cha for me. There's a lot of power in history around what we have lost in this power of human connection. And I want people to just, next time they're meditating and they're thinking, to go back and back and back into what have we lost as humans when it comes to connection, and how can we use something as simple as tea to come back to the roots of people around us are so much more important than we can imagine, and we should not just see them as a tool for moving forward. We should see ourselves as a tool for allowing humanity to be more connected. So how can I be more useful for you? How can I be more useful for you is the question I want people to come back with. So if I could be more useful for you, just follow up with me. And the ideal way I tell people, it's a really simple hack of following up with people. Pick people in your life, pick 10 people in your life right now, make him one of them, make me one of them, and send these people, what is again is uncomfortable, a 1-minute voice message. And tell them how you could be useful. Tell them about your dreams. Tell them what you wish you could talk to them about when you see them for a cup of tea.
I love it so much. I'm so much looking forward to continuing our shared journey, and can't wait for you to benefit from the miracles which come from living with an open heart and sharing tea and the enthusiasm with your community. Thank you for being in this together. There was another wonderful episode of the Spirit of Yoga podcast, and I trust that you enjoyed this tea chat and can't wait to celebrate life and wisdom together. Blessings from Bali. See you soon, and namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.